Welcome back to another episode with Fight Pass with Mitch, presented by Notorious Pulls Radio. And this week we have a huge trilogy going down with Leon Rocky Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. This is going down March 18th at the O2 Arena in London. Also, we have a huge co-main event with Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. So get ready. This is going to be a good one. But before we get into, remember, if you're new, please leave a like and a follow on all social media platforms, and let's get into it. Leon Rocky Edwards, the champ currently of the welterweight division. Kamaru Usman, the former champ, has exercised his immediate rematch clause to bring a huge trilogy fight at the O2 Arena. As you know, Leon Rocky Edwards has taken the belt from Usman in Utah, Salt Lake City. 5th round headshot KO kick, knocked out the champ. What a title fight that was. As you know, Edwards is coming into this match as an underdog, even though he's a champion at a plus 195. And we have the number one ranked contender, Kamaru Usman, coming as the favorite at a minus 230. As you know, Edwards 20-3 has been on an absolute tear. His last loss in the UFC was against Kamaru Usman in 2015. He's been on a 10-fight win streak, and he has won no contest against Bilal Muhammad. He is the first Jamaican-born UFC champion. Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, 20-2. Obviously, he's been 15-0 since he has entered the UFC. His only loss under the UFC promotion was his loss to Edwards and him losing his welterweight title. He's been on an unstoppable tear with 2 wins against Colby Covington, 2 beautiful wins against Jorge Masvidal, Gilbert Burns, took the belt from Tyron Woodley, and he has defended his title 5 times. That is a huge accomplishment to have. As you know, Notorious Radio is going to have to rock with Kamaru Usman. I do believe he was less than 60 seconds away from having a 6th title defense when that high altitude in Utah and that perfectly timed head kick is what essentially derailed him. But I do believe every champ, when you roll the dice and you end up defending your title so many times, you're bound to slip up when you take and you risk it all on the line. As you know, both these fighters have been very active as of recently, and I'm very happy that Leon got to bring this back to his home country. He was obviously born in Jamaica, but he grew up in Birmingham, England. This fight is going to be full of thrills, a lot of chills, and this is going to be a crazy square-off between the 2 best welterweights in the UFC division, arguably to say the 2 best welterweights in the entire world. So we're going to be rocking with Kamaru, and we are super, super excited for this fight on March 18th, Saturday night. Let's not mistake, the co-main event itself could have been a main event fight, and we have the number 3 ranked Justin the Highlight Gaethje going against the number 6 ranked Rafael Fiziev. As everybody knows, Justin Gaethje has been a staple in the UFC's lightweight division. He has fought 10 times for the UFC promotion, and he has fought nothing but the stiffest competition in the division. His last loss was to Charles Oliveira by rear naked choke. He put up a gorgeous fight against Michael Chandler, where he came up very victorious. He lost his only chance at the title when he was given to Khabib Nurmagomedov, who was a UFC Hall of Famer, had a beautiful win over Tony Ferguson. Donald Cerrone, as you know, he trains with Trevor Whitman, same coach as Kamaru Usman, and they're out there in Denver, Colorado. His opponent, you might not know him, but he has been on an absolute tear in the lightweight division. His name is Rafael Fiziev. He's 12-1, and he's coming in as the favorite at a minus 230. Don't be mistaken. You might not know him, and you might not understand why the matchmakers have chosen to put Fiziev as the favorite, but I'll help you break it down. First of all, Fiziev is on a 6-fight win streak. Out of the 6 fights he won, 5 of them have been bonuses. That is tremendous. These are 2 of the most exciting lightweight fighters in the division. There is no combination of lightweight fighters who have amassed more performance of the night, fight of the night bonuses than these 2 lightweights. Also, an interesting fact is Rafael Fiziev is the first Azerbaijani UFC fighter to represent his country. And he is ranked, and he is on a mission to become a UFC champion. He's had beautiful wins against RDA, Brad Riddell, Bobby Green, Renato Moicano. His only loss was in the UFC, and it was his UFC debut, which happened in 2019. Since then, he's been on an absolute tear. He's been putting his combination of striking in a beautiful format, and he's been taking the competition out. The thing about Gaethje, yes, he's a wonderful striker, but I do believe a lot of his fights become bar burners and he takes a lot of damage. A guy like Fiziev is very tactical, he's very precise, and he will not sit there with Gaethje to go blow for blow. He is a extremely talented kickboxer and striker, and I do believe that Gaethje's hand-high guard and, choppy low kick is just something that the UFC division has been kind of figured out, and I think Fiziev will find his chin and be able to put Justin Gaethje out on Saturday night. So for this, Notorious Radio is going to be having to rock with the Azerbaijani crew, and that's Rafael Fiziev, one of the best lightweights currently, in my opinion, in the division, and a little bit of the dark horse. A lot of people don't want to bring up his name and don't want to fight him, and I'm really tired of seeing the same top 5 going in the same rotation of Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler. It's the same story, so I really appreciate that Justin was able to take a fighter a little bit outside of the top 5 and really bridge the gap and really see to have the division to keep moving and flowing. So this is a really exciting match. I expect this fight to also have a bonus at the end of it, and with Fiziev getting his hand raised. The next match is a battle of 2 insane UFC veterans, and this is a welterweight matchup against Gunnar Nelson versus Bryan Barberena. Gunnar Nelson, as you know, this will be his 14th fight with the promotion. He's been with the UFC since 2012. And another interesting fact, he's already fought 6 times in London. So he is no stranger to fighting in the O2 Arena and in the UK. His opponent, Bryan Barberena, has been in the UFC since 2014. This is his 16th fight with the UFC promotion, and he's coming in at an insane heavy underdog at a plus 310. His record is 18-9, and his last loss was to RDA by submission. He was on an incredible 3-fight winning streak, and his previous fight is one of the most memorable fights that I've seen in his career. It was against Robbie Lawler. He put on an absolute clinic that night. A lot of people had Bryan Barberena marked for dead, but he obviously rose to the challenge and was able to put all the combination together, and he got Robbie Lawler out of there. He had a beautiful win against Matt Brown, Darian Weeks. He has been and has fought some of the best in the welterweight division. Gunnar Nelson is coming in as the heavy favorite at a minus 380. His last fight was in 2022 in London, England, he had a win over Takashi Soto. But before that, he was in a 3-year layoff where he lost to Gilbert Burns and he lost to Leon Rocky Edwards. You can say that time away from the octagon will not be in Gunnar's favor and that Bryan Barberena is more active, but Gunnar Nelson is a really tough opponent, and I do understand why the matchmakers chose him at a minus 380 favorite. So for that reason, we're going to have to rock with Gunnar Nelson on Saturday night over Bryan Barberena. I do love both of them, big fans, tremendous respect for both of these guys fighting each other on a huge main event card. So really excited to see this. Also, possible fight for a huge bonus. Do not sleep on this. The next match is a flyweight match. with the ladies, and we have the number 8 ranked Jennifer Maia at a plus 150 going against the number 12 ranked Casey O'Neill. Let's break down the logistics of both these fighters. Jennifer Maia is a big UFC vet. She comes from Brazil, and this is her 10th UFC fight. Her record is 29-1, and she's fought the who's who of the division. Her last fight was a win. She was on a 2-fight losing streak. She lost to Caitlin Chukagian 2 times. She had a win over Jessica Ai, and she also lost to the former champ Valentina Shevchenko in 2020 when they both fought for the title. Her opponent is an undefeated flyweight, Casey O'Neill. She's on a 4-fight win streak, and she is the favorite at a minus 175. She is from Australia, and I love watching her compete in the UFC. She has fought all around the world, in the UAE, in Australia, came to Vegas. All I can say is this girl knows how to handle her business. And this Saturday night will be no different. The win streak will continue to 10-0, and Notorious Radio is going to have to go heavy on Casey O'Neill. I really like what I've seen on tape. I like the momentum she's coming in, and I really like that they got this main event slot to really boost their platform going forward. So don't miss out. These are the only ladies that'll be fighting on the main event. The opening match on the main event card, which is another fight that could have been easily a main event card. I would have paid for this pay-per-view. And that's Marvin, the Italian Dream Vittori, the number 4 ranked middleweight in the UFC, going against my guy, the Georgian murderer, Roman Dolidze, ranked number 9. Let's get into it. Marvin, 18-6, is the favorite at a minus 265. He's been in the UFC since 2016, and he already has 13 fights with the promotion. His last loss was to Robert Whittaker. He had a win against Paulo Costa at catchweight at 205. He's lost to Israel Adesanya 2 times, and he has a win over Kevin Holland, Jack Hermanson, and Carl Robinson. The man is an absolute stud. You cannot take anything away from Marvin Vittori. He is one of the grittiest, toughest middleweights in the division. But let's begin on Roman. Roman, number 9, from Georgia, 12-1, is coming in as the underdog at a plus 225. He's only been in the UFC since 2020, and he already has 7 fights with the promotion. Super active. His last win was against Jack Hermanson, which won him performance of the night with a beautiful calf slicer submission, and he TKO'd him on the ground. He had an amazing win against a super durable Phil Hawes, where he was able to knock him out. Another performance of the night bonus. He had a beautiful knee KO against Kyle Dawkins. He had a win against Laureano Staropoli, and his only loss in the promotion was to Trevin Giles, which is his only loss or blemish on his record. I believe that Roman Dolidze is the future of the middleweight division. His striking, his wrestling, his grappling, his determination is all in line to be an absolute star going forward in this division. There is no way that I can rock with Marvin Vittori this night. I am going with the Georgian powerhouse, Roman, at a plus 225. I believe this is not an upset. I believe the matchmakers have no idea what they're talking about. I'm in a big disagreement. I can easily see this being Roman the favorite versus Marvin Vittori. But the matchmakers see it that Vittori has a little bit more experience, has fought the better end of the middleweight division, the former champion and the former champion in Whittaker. Obviously, he fell short, and that's what brings Roman in line. Roman has been taking nothing but tremendous risks in his career. After Philip Hawes, he stepped up to fight Jack Hermanson on literally like 30-day notice, was able to quit, or in the 30 days, he literally had, his fight turned around within 30 days, but he took the fight for some reason, I think it was like on 2 weeks notice, and he came up absolute huge. Guys, remember, this card is on March 18th. The UFC has been absolutely on fire the month of March. We are super excited. Remember, if you really support us, we sell the best merch on notoriouspulls.com. And remember, like, follow, subscribe us on all platforms. And remember, if it ain't Notorious, I don't want it. Your host, Fight Pass with Mitch, and we'll see you Saturday night. Enjoy.